So, this is my story. I forgave somebody recently in a really big way. And pardon me for reading this, but I don't want to get off track for the sake of time. You know what you always hear people say, I can forgive them, but I won't ever forget it. Well, my friends, I just want to tell you that that's not true forgiveness. Of course, once you're aware of something that has happened and you've lived through it, you've been affected by it, you can't just erase it from your mind like it never happened. But you can put it and the pain that it caused you behind you, and you can use it for the good that it was meant to be. God's plan. It's part of His plan. His plan's perfect. And that brings me to my very favorite scripture so far that I've learned in the Bible, because, I'm still a baby Christian. So, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. And that is Jeremiah 29:11. That's the NIV version. My story of forgiveness began on June the 3rd, 2012, and I didn't even know it at the time. You see, that day my husband made a choice that would change our lives forever. It was a couple days later when he told me that there were rumors going around about him at work. He said that the rumors were that he had touched a female inmate in an inappropriate way. I immediately blew it off because I knew how Harry felt about inmates. I mean, most of them weren't even human to him. He would never do that. But I had to ask him, right? Had to ask him. And when he denied it to me, something hit me in the gut, because I knew my husband. And I could tell that something wasn't right. I wasn't sure that he had done what people were saying he did, but I could tell he was scared. And if he was innocent of this, why was he so scared, So let me back up about 14 years. My husband, at that time, of 7 years, he was a full-time musician, and we were living the party life. I mean, we really were living the party life. I started late in my 30s with my party life, but I did it all, I can tell you. And then boom, he had an affair, and it was over. My marriage was over, and I loved him. But there was no forgiving that on my part. Because, see, I wasn't living a Christian life then, 14 years ago. So forgiveness was not in the picture. However, I was devastated, and I really did just want to die. Then I met the husband of the woman he was cheating on me with. Wow, what a great guy. I thought, I bet he can help me understand how to deal with this pain. Maybe there was a little bit of revenge in there too. But, well, he did. And we fell in love almost immediately. And all my pain disappeared. All this feeling of desperation and wanting to die, it was gone. And I was so totally in love with Harry, and everybody thought, you are crazy. This is so rebound for both of y'all, it will never last a month. But 14 years later, we're still going stronger than ever. He gave me, he was my knight in shining armor, and he gave me the son and the daughter that I'd always wanted, but I'd never had. He was widowed from their mother, so this wife that was doing wrong was not their mother. So I truly had a mother role I could finally fill. He had just retired from the Army after 21 years of wonderful service and had moved to Georgia to start a second career in law enforcement. That's quite a vast difference from a ponytail-wearing drummer to a high and tight wearing cop. But you see, you never question God's plan. It's always perfect. I went from one end to the other. And it was all part of His plan. So over the years, Harry and I, we got through raising a troubled teenage girl and being all the support we could be to a son who did 2 tours in Afghanistan and Iraq and came back with PTSD. We got both of them married off and had 3 beautiful grandchildren. We're even raising one of them ourselves after our son's divorce. Most of y'all know our little Cammy. So yeah, our life was just rocking along, and I was always so proud to be his wife. The handsome deputy in the SWAT uniform, he would just swing by the community pool at the end of his shift just to give me a kiss and tell me he was home safe, because I was usually hanging out at the neighborhood pool. Life was good. The beloved friend of so many other officers and the life of any party we threw or attended. Our life was consumed by his career and all of the friends that shared the same passion of law enforcement. We had our kids and our grandchildren and our beautiful nieces that we loved to spend time with. That would be Jordan and Alex. But something seems to be missing from that equation. Maybe God? Well, within a few days of him telling me about those rumors, he went to his supervisor and he gave an admission and his resignation. Then he came home to tell me the truth. And forgiveness was not my first reaction. He told me later that when he was waiting for me to come home, the day that he resigned his position, he went downstairs and he yelled out for God. And he told God that if he was real, he better talk to him now. He said he didn't hear anything. And he told God he was still listening and that this would be a really great time to talk to him. And then he called my father in Macon and asked my dad to come up and be there for me. Not for him, but for me, because he wanted somebody who loved me to be there when he told me the truth. So I think God was listening. And I think God did talk to him, because that was a real good decision on his part. The next day he went to Tony's house. And he broke down. And she brought him here. She brought him to this church. And he came home that day and he told me no matter what, he wanted us to go to church on Sunday. And I agreed. I was still in this whirlwind of what is happening in my life, what just happened. But something told me that nothing else was going to save us. So I'm not sure exactly when we let the Lord into our hearts. It was probably that first or second Sunday that we attended Dr. John's services. Because, I'm sorry y'all, but he spoke directly to us. Every week, just directly to me and Harry. Of course, he did have a way of making everybody feel that way. And we cried through every praise song that the band played. I finally just stopped wearing any makeup to church because I cried it all off every week. I don't have on mascara today, just in case. I do know that I made my decision to forgive Harry early on. And it was because of coming to church and learning of God's grace. I just kept thinking that one mistake doesn't take away all of the good that somebody has been all of their life. One mistake doesn't erase all of that. And somewhere in truly forgiving Harry and truly accepting Jesus Christ, I found peace. Kim, that peace. Perfect peace, to quote an old friend. But this was the result of my faith. It wasn't the forgiveness, it was my faith. And this faith has gotten me through Harry's arrest at our home, the humiliation of seeing his mugshot on the 6 o'clock news on TV, losing almost all of our friends because they were all cops, and losing our financial stability that was provided by his job and his income, losing our beautiful new home in the country, me moving into a friend's basement with our grandchild, and seeing him sentenced to prison and having to visit him there on a regular basis. My faith and that peace I have has gotten me through all of those things. So I'll tell y'all, friends, it can get you through anything. I really do have peace. It hasn't always been as perfect as it is now, today, but it's grown by leaps and bounds with my faith. But you know what? Harry has the same peace. And you know what else? God has totally taken care of us. He has provided everything we've needed. Everything. I haven't been hungry, obviously. Harry gets 3 squares a day. He just gave us so many opportunities and resources to help us get through everything, and that we needed to help our faith grow stronger and stronger. This time that we're spending apart is awesome for both of us, because if we were together, we'd be distracted with each other. But being apart, his faith is growing by leaps and bounds, and mine is too. And Harry's now the chaplain's assistant at his prison. He's been asked by the warden to speak to other officers, to correction officers on 2 separate occasions to share his story and to maybe help prevent them from falling into the same trap that Satan sets. Harry has his own Bible study. It's called Coffee and the Word. And if you know anybody that's ever been incarcerated, coffee is pretty much gold in prison. That and ramen noodles, but that's a different story. So Harry gives his coffee away. He goes to the store and he buys all this coffee and he gives it away to anybody who will come and sit down and just study the Word with him. They get free coffee. And his facility has just, July the 1st, established their very first faith and character dorm, and that's where Harry's residing. I'm so humbled to have even been asked to consider being a Stephen minister here at this church. And I'm about to go on my 2nd mission trip to Haiti. And I've been able to help out locally with so many missions that are close to my heart. And when I think back 2 years ago, to June the 3rd, 2012, I never, in a million years, would have predicted that my life would be where it is right now. Never. And it's just the beginning. Because when Harry gets home, which I pray is soon, we plan to devote our lives to serving God in whatever way He leads us. And we're so excited about what our future holds. Wonder if Harry hadn't accepted God's grace and forgiveness. Wonder if he hadn't felt that he was truly redeemed. Wonder if I hadn't let Jesus Christ into my heart. Wonder if I hadn't truly forgiven my beloved husband for his dreadful mistake. What a difference forgiveness has made in our lives. Not only with our marriage, not only with each other, but God's forgiveness and His grace. Thank y'all for listening. Anybody want to close us in prayer, or do y'all want me to do it?
You do it, girl. You do it. Finish it.
I've got 1 minute. It's going to be a short prayer.
Will you pray will you pray for this community, that the grace and the power that He's given you to walk in forgiveness? You've got an anointing on your life because you're walking in it. And would you pray that would be something that we could all be walking in? Because you have authority, because you're doing it.
Sam.
And when you pray for those women who are in those situations,